on Success Amplified, the role of culture, career goals, and community in shaping leaders. We have weighty discussions on career goals. A warm welcome to those of you who are joining us online. I hope you know that we are streaming online as well. Our session will now explore the roles of culture, career goals, and the community. So to discuss this in detail, please welcome on stage Ms. Kirtana Kripash, Vice President Product Development and Project Execution at JP Morgan Chase, an inveterate learner. She enjoys collaborating on and facilitating projects, working with teams while being autonomous. We've got Gauri Chandra, CEO RM India, a startup in education technology, over 3 decades of working in technology delivery and operations across global financial services organizations, including American Express, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo. Gauri has led large global teams operating in complex multicultural environments. We've got Ms. Madhura Dasgupta, founder and CEO of Aspire for Her, a unique startup that motivates women to enter and to stay in the workforce. 25 years, Madhura has been leading positions in banks such as IDFC, Standard Chartered, and ANZ Grindlays. Aspire for Her aims to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025 by using the power of networks and communities. Hosting this exciting discussion, we've got Ms. Shoma Bakre, founder, Let's Do Some Good Foundation, and co-founder of Empower Research, now part of a global MNC, which she grew into a multi-million-dollar media research firm before transitioning to community service. So she's been recognized for her contributions to women's empowerment. She's a published author and motivational speaker who also mentors women and social enterprises. So it's over to you, ladies.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all. We have a very interesting topic that we are going to discuss today with 3 very accomplished women leaders. And I know we are heading towards lunchtime, so stay awake. I'm sure you will enjoy this session very much. I will begin with a few statistics that I discovered in the anitaB.org 2022 TechEase report. This was a part of my doctoral research journey, and what I learned was startling. What the report said is that women and non-binary individuals have unique challenges in the workplace in the tech industry. This is 2022, mind you. It said 87% women technologists experienced harassment at the workplace. Shocking. 95% almost faced discrimination at work. I'm talking about women in the tech industry. This is Anita B. 2022 Techies report. It said 54% of LGBTQIA technologists experienced discrimination at the workplace. Okay? So now tell me, does that sound real to you? Or maybe not. So with these startling statistics as the context and the backdrop, we will start a discussion today. We have 3 very accomplished leaders, and I will request Gauri to first start, introduce herself a little bit, and talk about the relevance of today's session that we are here assembled to listen to. Gauri.
Thank you, Shoma. Can everybody hear me all right? Yeah? Yep. Okay, so I want to just start by describing myself, I'm somebody who's very passionate about everything I do. I'm a techie, I'm a technologist at heart, not just by profession. And thirdly, I'm a very, very anxious mom of a teenager. I want to talk a little bit about my journey and then also talk about how the relevance of culture, community, and career planning have played a very important role in my journey. So I started my career with TCS, and that was really the foundational part of my career where I was learning the core skills. And from then, I wanted, from my career planning perspective, I wanted to grow, get diverse perspectives, get diverse skills. And I moved to American Express, where I spent about 15 years doing a variety of roles, whether it was product management or technology delivery, compliance and risk. And as I moved roles, what was really good was that it was a new role that I was doing, picking up skills as per what I wanted to do. But I also had the company culture and American Express. I know you're one of the sponsors, so take a bow. The company culture supported me, and also I had built a community for myself, who was, again, people who were my sponsors, people who were supporters. And that was really lovely. So I spent about almost 15 years both in India and UK, and then we moved back to Bangalore, and American Express didn't have too much of a big presence in Bangalore. So I was working remotely before it became fashionable, the work from home culture that came with COVID. And then I started, for a year or so, I really pursued my passion. I did interior design and I was a freelance consultant. And then I moved into, with JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo. So American Express to me was my time of discovery as well as transformation. So I discovered what I liked. What I really wanted to do was grow more in the leadership capabilities. So JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo gave me that opportunity of having a very dynamic blend of both leadership and innovation. So spent some time there. And in my last role, I've been the CEO for a delivery center for a British edutech company. And to me, that's also a form of discovery because I learned a lot of new things in this role. So one of the things that I wanted to call out, is be intentional about your career, be in a place where you resonate with the culture and have a community that helps you grow. And, very excited to be here and part of this esteemed panel. So thank you, Shoma. I know I've taken a little bit over time.
Thank you so much, Gauri. Can I request Kirtana to please introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about the relevance and significance of this session to you today?
Thanks, Shoma. So hi
You
everyone. My name is Kirtana. I am currently with JP Morgan Chase. My LinkedIn profile will flash in just a minute or so, to not a minute, 30 minutes. And if you want to take a look, because my resume, nothing, no job was the same as a job before it at that point of time. And so that's why I'm here today. I am currently with JP Morgan within the technology department. I work with the engineering and architecture team, and I am not a technologist in the least. But what I love about what we're going to do here today is talk to you about what is innate to you. It is not about your degree. It is not about the work experience that you had in the last 3 years or the 5 years, but it's about who you are, what is important to you as a person, and how are you making sure that people know what skill sets you bring in, what is important to you, what is that combination of amazing human skills that you have that is going to make you an asset to your organization? Because let's face it, everyone needs to do that. But at the same time, how are you going to leverage your community, your culture, and your own personal interest to give you a career that is important to you, that is fulfilling to you? And I'll talk a bit about it, right? That when you start your career out, we're all in a space where we want to get promoted, we want to make sure we get the best salary. But as you get older, you'll be looking for those things that give you joy. And I do want to refer to that just a little bit later. But stay tuned, folks. We have a lot of things to talk to you about our personal journeys that will be hopefully resonating with you as well. And I look forward to hopefully a question or two at the end of it. I do want to call out while we were waiting, I did hear a question about reskilling at work or upskilling at work. And I hope I have a couple of things in my questions that hopefully answer yours as well about how do you make sure your organization is supporting you while you reskill or upskill, and how do you leverage culture and community to make that happen? Thanks, Shoma.
Thank you so much, Kirtana. Madhura, can I request you to now please speak a little bit about yourself and also talk about the significance of this particular session for you and for the audience?
Thank you, Shoma. My name is Madhura Das Gupta Sinha, and I'm the founder and CEO of Aspire for Her. And I am really honored to be part of GHCI and really wanted to thank Shreya Krishnan and her wonderful team having put together this amazing event at BIAC. Loud round of applause for all of them, please. Thank you. At Aspire for Her, we are adding 1 million women to the workforce by 2025 and 10 million by 2030. We have had the pleasure of having today more than 600,000 members in our community. And very happy to tell you that many members of the Aspire for Her community are here today at GHCI. So a loud round of applause for them as well. Thank you so much for the Aspire for Her community for having come out in large numbers to support this amazing initiative. Well, we use a mindset change model to build communities and networks. And what we try to do is to motivate women to enter and stay in the workforce by using that power. We use the power of mentorship, skilling, career previews, and of course, having a safe space to talk to each other. That's what we do at Aspire for Her. Today, we're proud to say that we have partners like Amazon, Google, IBM, LinkedIn, HSBC, Standard Chartered, and a whole host of forward looking companies who work with us and who ensure that that housewife from Guntur gets into a coding job. That young person who's struggling to find her voice actually does sessions today at GHCI. Hopefully, we'll get some time to talk about these stories as well. And thank you for having me, Shoma, and really looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much, Madhura. So we have three amazing women who have a lot to share. And we are talking about three components in our topic. So one is organizational culture, the other is career goals, and the third is community. And we thought since we have paucity of time, we'll divide these three into one each. And so I'll start with Gauri. You've already touched upon it a little bit, but Gauri, can you tell us how important is the role of organizational culture in influencing success and professional development of women and non-binary individuals in the tech industry?
Okay, how many of you would have joined a company and you were brimming with ideas and you go into a meeting and you have this amazing, bold, innovative idea that you present, but don't get too much recognition for it. Another colleague, maybe of a different gender, has or proposes that idea. It's acknowledged and celebrated, and this happens again and again and again. What do? You quieten up. You keep quiet. You withdraw into a shell. You start feeling undervalued, and you probably quit. Switch to another company, and there your ideas are celebrated. Your manager supports your development. You have equal opportunity. You're part of a community where mentorship is active, where you're being mentored as well as you're mentoring others. You're paying it forward. How does that make you feel? It makes you feel valued, included. And to me, that is the power of culture. Now, how would you really define culture? I mean, some would say, what is it? It is really the values, the beliefs, the ways of working, the decision making, the opportunity that people get, and how they really collaborate and include everybody. So, if I were to use one word, Shoma, to describe it, I would say that's the personality of the organization. So, would you, as all of us, would we want to be with a person or an organization whose personality we gelled with, where we felt valued, we felt heard, or would we want to be with somewhere where the personality did not match with ours, we did not gel, was toxic? I mean, I remember a time, and this was in one of my early years, and I won't name the organization, where we'd had a few new senior leaders who joined, and there was a lot of competition, politicking, a lot of internal dynamics at play, which was kind of beginning to have an impact on the culture of the organization. And there was one senior tenured leader that I was close to, and I complained yet again. And there was something that she said to me that really stuck with me till today. She said, Gauri, you have the option to leave, or you have the option to stay and do something about it. So I think, for me, what's important is that when we see things that don't resonate with our value system, A, we call it out. The second thing is, how do we be examples and we embody what good behavior and what the culture of the organization actually should be. And it doesn't matter what role you are in or what level you're in. I think that's what's key. So to me, I would think everybody here would agree that it's critical. It's absolutely critical.
Thank you so much. You've hit the nail on the head. I think everybody would agree with what Gauri has said. So now moving on to Kirtana. What is the role of personal career planning in ensuring successful career progression and individual professional development? If you could pepper your answer with some examples, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you, Shoma. So when they told me this is the question we're going to ask you, I said, "Are you sure I'm the right person to talk about it?" Right? Like I mentioned, varied career, honestly. But I still think I want to share a couple of things with this group, right? I do refer to myself sometimes as a career jellyfish. So if anyone can imagine a jellyfish, right? It's this large organization, it goes where the ocean currents take them, and it thrives in large numbers. So, in my career, I started out in training way back when, doing management training, doing communication training. Currently, I am with an engineering and architecture subdivision working on developer experience. And through that, through my career, I worked on quality management. I worked in real estate, corporate real estate, which is facilities management. And sometimes I think as I look back, would I go and change any part of my career? And honestly, I wouldn't. Because in each one of them, whether it was a fabulous manager or not, a great company or not, a good salary or not, I learned something critical. I learned people management skills. I learned to work with conflict. I learned to work with team members who didn't want to work for me or with me, right? And so there was a lot that I learned at that point of time. So, what I would say to this group here is now more than ever, it is impossible to make a career plan and have it be valid for more than 3 years at any point of time. Technology is changing too fast. The needs of the organizations are changing too fast for us to say, in 6 years, I will be doing this, but at a better salary and in a higher grade at any point of time. What I want to emphasize for this group here is know who you are. At the end of the day, you'll have a million sessions here talking about AI and ML and LLMs, all of that. People are not hiring you anymore for your technical skills, they are hiring you for your human skills. And for you to sell your human skills, to grow your career, you need to know what those human skills are for you. And that's going to be a combination of things like creativity. It's going to be a combination of things like problem solving. It's going to be facilitation. It's going to be working well with teams. It's going to be program management or project management. It's going to be that you are the SWAT team, the consulting team that sees through a problem and fixes it. If you don't know that about you as yet, for your career planning, like Gauri mentioned, reach out to your community. Now, way back when I was a tiny critter and I was 19 years old, I made a little questionnaire that was like a personality questionnaire, and I gave it to the folks in my first year degree class, and they were like, "This is really funny." But I asked them, what do you like about me? What do I do really well? What could I improve upon? And that gave me a template into a insight into who I am And I learned a lot of things that people thought I was doing really well that I took for granted. I was like, ha ha, yes, I can talk to people. I did not know that was a skill set at that time. But having asked my community, I figured out that, hey, maybe I'm good at facilitation. Maybe I work well with large teams. And that has helped me over the last few decades, to move through my career. And honestly, within JP Morgan, most of the roles I moved to, so 8 years, 4 roles, has been because someone reached out to me and said, hey, Kirtana, I noticed you doing this really well on some project. Would you like to come and do that for us in a role? I honestly have used that as career progression because I've been able to showcase those skills, showcase them in public forums, and people say, hey, I see something in you that I want in my team. And that is the most powerful way you will grow your career, is to be wanted by a team. And to be wanted by a team, they have to know you exist. They have to know you do something really well. And that's how you're going to plan your career. You're going to say, I do this really well. This gives me joy. It gives me satisfaction to do. I'm going to market that skill and I'm going to showcase it. And I'm now going to leave you with this as well. How are you going to showcase those skills so that you have career progression? So, a lot of people will say, I did my job fabulously, right? You gave me a task to do, I did it really well. Why aren't I getting promotions? Why aren't I able to move? The problem is, if you do something that you are expected to do really well, people will take it for granted. They're going to say, oh, yeah, you code, right? You did it really well. The project launched on time. But career progression comes from you showcasing skill sets that put you in that next career band, right? So, in addition, and this is a lot to ask, I know, in addition to doing what you do today really well, you also need to be showcasing what you can do at the next level really well as well. And so people will say, but I can't do that in my current job. If you are in any type of large or small organization, every organization has extracurriculars, and I love them. I'm on practically every committee, every group, every extra project that we have at JP Morgan, and my career has come from there. Join an ERG, join an affinity group. If someone's doing a hackathon, go hack or go plan. If you go plan a hackathon, you are showcasing managerial skills, you're showcasing leadership skills. If you go participate in a hackathon, you're showcasing technical skills, but go participate. When you do that, more people than your team know you exist, more people than your team know you're doing really well, and they're going to take a chance on you. And finally, just circling back to career progression, you cannot plan for your career. Aim to grow, aim to move into a new space. I know as women, like my biggest issue is imposter syndrome. Even now in my new role, I am terrified because I'm working with senior technologists. Imposter syndrome is real, but aim like that jellyfish to move where the need is. Do not put yourself in a bucket and say, I have done Java development, I've been an FSD developer all my life, this is what I want to do. Do not do it, ladies and gentlemen and others, right? Make sure that you go where it is. And if someone senior says to you, hey, I think you will be great here, listen to them. They see something in you, listen to their advice, take a chance. Yes, you are 30% ready, take a chance. To the reskilling question, ask for reskilling. Hey, I know you think I can do this. Can I learn? Can you tell me? Can you send me to a certificate program? Can you help me job shadow? Ask, ask. And when someone sees good in you, when someone sees ability in you, take them at their face value, join it, do it. And so, career progression, folks, go out there, know what you like doing, and finally, showcase your work. Go where the demand is, go where the next new job is. Thanks,
I
Shoma.
love the jellyfish.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've literally answered all the three questions
Oh,
I had
good.
for you, but beautifully articulated. And I've had a very checkered career. So I totally agree. Don't try to put yourself in a box, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I'll move on to Madhura, who also has immense experience, not only in her own leadership journey, but also in creating paths for a lot of women. So, Madhura, all yours. What is the role of community in influencing leadership journeys? Can you please tell us?
No, thanks. Great question. We decided to do a little divide and conquer, if you know. The three C's that came into, got thrown at us. We've divided the three C's, and I took community. We gave career to Kirtana and culture to Gauri. So let me start with a little story of what a community really means and what does it really mean to be a leader. When we think of leadership, we probably think of some very conventional prototypes of leaders. And I'm talking about women leaders who are probably CEOs, CXOs, leaders, business leaders, etc. But I'm going to talk about a different kind of leader and try to actually bring out the story of what a community can do in your life. And the only thing that I'd like to leave you with is find your own community, because that's where the culture and the career pieces actually bond together beautifully and give you a safety net like a trapeze artist. That is what the community does. That is the basic foundation. The community connects with each other, motivates each other, elevates each other, cheers for each other, and ensures that collective problems are solved creatively. And I'm going to talk about a story of somebody who you will definitely not think of as a leader. Think COVID. And that's when Aspire for Her started, Women's Day 2020. Right after that, we were hit by the lockdown. And we lost so many of our dear friends and colleagues. At that point in time, we started a community for women who had lost their primary breadwinners to COVID. They all got together and we called the community Not Alone. And there was one woman in that community who was at that point almost close to taking her own life because she felt that life was not worth living anymore. In fact, one of our mentors who was working with her got a message one day after midnight to say, I don't think I can take this anymore. And the message vanished after a few seconds. And of course, the community came, rallied together, did a whole lot of things with her mental health, etc. She joined the community. To cut a long story short, after a few months, she was confident enough to go and start applying for jobs, to start interviewing for jobs. And she had 3 job offers, of which she, of course, chose one. But my story doesn't end there. Some time back, I came back to Bangalore for a UN Women job fair that we were doing only for returning women. And I met her. And she said, you know, Madhura, after that experience of finding my own job, finding my own voice, I have started mentoring 6 other women. Now, this woman, who was probably at the most vulnerable point in her life, and nobody would ever define her as a leader, suddenly the community had elevated her to a leadership position. So you can be a leader. Don't think that I am too junior. I don't have a circle of influence. Nobody listens to me anyway. And who am I to be a leader? Your voice is important. All of you can be leaders. And it is the community that will make you a leader. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madhura. That was beautifully described, the power of community. So all of us here today, we are actually in a community. GHCI, anitab.org. It's a very, very serious community for people like us. So thank you so much for sharing. Now, since we have mixed up all the questions, I think what I'm going to do, and we are, I think, running out a little bit on time. The next 2 questions that I'm going to ask you, please club them together, a couple of minutes each. You've touched upon this already, Gauri. Can you share an example of a time when the synergy or conflict between these 3 elements of culture, career goals, and community significantly shaped your path as a leader? And along with that, I would also like you to, give an advice that is valuable to all the people sitting here listening to you as to how can they leverage all these 3 in order to further their leadership journeys.
Okay, I'm actually going to talk about an example, and this was at one of the organizations, and I'll give you a hint. They're, one of the lead sponsors here today. I won't name them. Um, so this was, at a stage in my career that I wanted to really increase my visibility, expand my sphere of influence, and that's what I was looking for. This organization is a big supporter, is really values, inclusion and diversity and equality. And our CIO at that time wanted to launch the Women in Tech community. And so I took up the opportunity and, kind of raised my hand. And what was really, really pleasantly surprising and delightful was the number of people across genders who rallied together to make it happen. And people were leading work streams, people were brimming with ideas, people wanted to run hackathons, have events. So we did this launch session, and it was a really long run up to that event, and we launched this community. And I think, sorry, this Women in Tech Forum. And from there, the whole thing about that sponsorship, my career aspiration to kind of increase my visibility and sphere of influence, and also to get to know people. I mean, I have those bonds and friendships that have carried on till now. In fact, some of them are here and I can see them here. We launched it. After that, it went global. It's still running really strong. And to me, that's really the power, Shoma, is, where you get it all together. You have people. And while we were walking, I said to Shoma one thing. I said, we have people here who are volunteering, and they'll go a long way because they're in a community, they've got career aspirations, and obviously they've planned, how they want to really grow in their roles, not vertically, but really expand that sphere of influence and their network. So to me, just keep doing what you're doing. If you want to ask, I mean, we have spoken enough about, embracing culture, really being part of it, being intentional about, or, let it flow from a career, be part of a community. The only other two things that I would add is be a change agent. When you see something, say something, be there, voice, be that voice. It doesn't matter what level, what role you're in. Do call that out. And lastly, and I think Kirtana touched upon it, build your personal brand. What is it that you stand for? And ask your community, ask your sponsors who you are, what do they take of you. I think to me, that's really, really, really critical.
Thank you so much, Gauri. And we've just got the signal that we are moving towards 10 more minutes left. So I'll actually go to Madhura and then come to Ketana. In your experience, how can organizations, individuals, and communities collaborate to create ecosystems that positively shape and enable leadership journeys? And what would be your advice to people in this room to leverage all the three components that we're discussing today?
So I think individuals, organizations, institutions, we've seen examples of all of them coming together. And I'd just like to talk about one community that we are very, very proud of. That's our Tech for Her community, which is for women who aspire for careers in technology. We've noticed that whether it is mentors or role models, we've had really senior women coming and giving their time. Whether it is skilling opportunities, we've had organizations like Amazon, Google, IBM, LinkedIn, etc., coming forward and giving world-class free opportunities to the women in the community. We've seen if she can see it, she can be it. And we really feel the power of that. So, all of us sitting here, all of you sitting there, we love to tell the stories of all your journeys so that the women in our community, the women in all communities, get inspired to follow those career paths. And finally, we always try to say that no problem is too big. If there's a barrier, there's a way to navigate that. If there's a hurdle, there are ways to beat that hurdle. And the community creatively finds ways to do that. So at the Tech for Her community, there have been people who have been absolutely in villages. They have come out and learned how to code. They have learned how to become cloud engineers. And they have joined one of the world's strictest recruitment systems in Amazon. They have found their job in AWS. They have found their jobs in Capgemini. They have found jobs in other amazing organizations. So, especially in this tech forum, I'd really love to tell you that nothing is impossible. It's all in your mind. And there are so many organizations and institutions coming forward to give you all the resources that you need to open up the doors and windows of your mind to embrace the impossible.
Thank you so much, Madhura. And I was mistaken. Our time's up. So I will just ask you to spend 30 seconds advising the people in the room as to how they can leverage the three components that we are discussing today.
Cool. Thank you, Shoma. So really quickly, folks, I was just going to say candidly, just be you. You know what is important to you. If you want a career or a job where you're happy, where you have time off to be the best person outside of work, you know if you want to be the best technologist in the world, be you. My advice is surround yourself with people who uplift that. Sometimes you want to do something and someone will say, hey, Yako, I'm just going to speak Kannada badly. Bere kelsa ilva, which is basically, don't you have any other work to do besides doing this? That is a negative influence in your life. Be friends with them, but don't let them influence you. So, in your career, know what you want. You be you. Don't let anyone tell you you should do things differently. Finally, surround yourself with people who uplift you, who say, Kirtna, great job. You did that really well. But hey, Kirtna, can I take you aside? You could have done this a little differently. This would have been better for you. Or hey, can I give you feedback that doesn't work for you? Surround yourself with people who care about you, who are willing to give you time, but innately know what you want. It is okay. It is okay to slow down and say, hey, I will do 8 hours at work and nothing else, right? So, two pieces of advice: be you, decide what is important to you. That is the most important thing. And finally, surround yourself with people who will give you candid advice and be your cheerleaders every day.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Shoma.
much. So it's been an absolute honor and privilege to be moderating this session with these amazing ladies. Thank you all. Thank you for listening to us. I want to indulge me, 45 seconds to share a true story. How many of you have heard about Lynn Conway? Raise your hands if you know who is Lynn Conway. You're too young. Lynn Conway was born a man, and in 1968, he transitioned from a man to a woman because he had gender dysphoria. He was a brilliant technologist working in IBM. When he told IBM that he wanted to transition and become a woman, he was fired. This was 1968, before many of us were born. In 2020, 32 years later, IBM felicitated Lynn, who was by then a woman and very successful in the computing world, creating a legacy that is quite unmatched. They gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award for her significant contribution, particularly in the chip design industry, and they apologized to her in a public event that was widely broadcast. But that was in 2020 after 32 years. So we still have a long way to go. It's only 2024. We are headed in the right direction for women and non-binary technologists. You have heard advice from three amazing leaders. Let's pay heed. Success should be the fruit of merit, not gender. But unfortunately, we still are grappling with gender. So thank you, GHCI and Anita B, for creating a community that is supporting all of us and enabling us by providing unique and intentional interventions to make our leadership journeys fruitful and successful. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kirtana, Gauri, Madhura, and Shoma. You still want to say something?
Madhura has something
Yeah.
for all of you.
We just like to leave you with one visual message, which is be that bridge of culture, career, community in your own circles. And we will form a little bridge next 10 seconds. And if you would like, please stand up and also form the bridge with the next person next to you.
Everyone, please rise.
That thought that forcing you can't do that. Tied us down, now we combat. New gen in the face, we about that. Me plus we see the future, gonna get that. Get that. 10 toes in, gonna feel that, feel that, feel that. Any time of the day, better make way when we pull up. On a new day when to come up. We got the high end product, the conduct. Business, professional. Body, phenomenal. Built in a way unstoppable. Our MO, incomparable. The style, the skill, impeccable. You know, that's what we do. We about to turn it up a notch, better not be confused. No, we